Okay, so it's going to start feeding now, and I'll give you a nod in about 30 seconds.
Cool.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, very pleased to be live for the next in our series of Hall of Fame property entrepreneurs. So today we have a very special guest, a very long-standing friend of mine and a very long-standing board member. Has been on the board since about 2013, 2014. One of our longest serving board members on Property Entrepreneur. And the journey that he's experienced is going to be one that's either sounds very, very familiar to you, and you can resonate with where he's been and the challenges he's faced, or it's going to be somewhere you aspire to get to. And Kevin's going to take us through this today. How are we doing, Kev?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Very good. Do you want to give anyone who's not had the pleasure to meet you previously, do you want to give them just a quick insight into who you are, what you do, company you run?
Yeah, I just apologise first. I've got the sun shining on my head. There's a bit of, I haven't done my makeup, so sorry about that, everyone. So
we're both in the same boat, don't worry.
Yeah, my name's Kevin Edge. So I run a development company, Fountain Hill Developments, in St Albans, build new houses. Been on the board for about 6 or 7 years, as Dan said, right from the early days when we were just a few ragtag bunch sitting in a boardroom in Nottingham, eating flapjacks, which is another story we won't go into now. But yeah, it's been a good journey.
Kev is not only a long-standing friend of mine, he is an award-winning investor, developer, award-winning property entrepreneur. And on Property Entrepreneur, we talk about heroes, and Kev is one of my heroes. And I look up to him in how he's managed to achieve what he's achieved and the way he lives his life now, because it's inspiring, but also because it's a long way apart from where he was when we started working together. Where were you when we started working together, Kev?
Oh, I don't want to go back there. It was, so I was running a building company, Civic Construction. I've been running that at the time for about 20 years. When I say I was running the company, it was more the company was running me, really. So I was like the van driver, delivery driver, managing director, human resources, accounts manager, salesman, bricklayer, labourer, cleaner, all of these roles come under my hat. And I was out there like in the washing machine, going around with everyone. And it was really eating me alive, really. It was very, very stressful.
And a lot of people are going to resonate with that because we all get into business, we start running them, and lots of people become business operators rather than business owners. And that was definitely where Kev was. But you had much loftier aspirations as to where you wanted to get to. And over the last 6 or 7 years, you've made a number of like key step changes in your life and your business to get to where you are now. Just to give everyone an insight into where you are now compared to where you started. Where are you now?
Yeah, so now, as you said, over the last few years, we've been lucky enough to win some awards on the Property Investors Awards. So we won Deal of the Year 2016. I won Deal of the Year on Property Entrepreneur 2018. We won Deal of the Year and Property Development of the Year in 2019 Property Investors Awards. So been really lucky on the journey. And now we're just building houses. So no longer the builder, I'm a developer. And we do sort of small sites up to sort of 9 to 10 houses, and we're looking to grow that.
Very good. And businesses are all stressful and they're all challenging. If you were to sort of rate your level of enjoyment, because we all have these challenges in our business, we were to rate the sort of level of well-being and enjoyment and satisfaction you get from your life by design now, as opposed to the sort of Kevin Cannibal that was being eaten alive back then, how would you compare the two?
There's no comparison, really. I mean, I'm doing what I love now. I'm doing what I'm able to use some of the skills that I learned early on. I can leverage now for giving myself more space and more life. It's complete turnaround. So much happier in doing what I'm doing now. I can achieve much more, and I can have much more life as well.
Absolutely. And if we don't cross it within this journey we're going to explore, then we'll explore Kev's sort of general well-being and personal sort of AAA game and health and fitness, because it's a huge part of this transformation as we go through. And that's definitely one of the visible things that I've noticed about Kev's successes on the way through this. So we're going to start at the beginning, because there's so many people that will be listening to this and are probably exactly where you were, Kev, like 6-7 years ago, and equally want to get to where you are now. What challenges did you face on the way there? If we go through a few of the key challenges, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I think like looking back, one of the things was like burning the candle at both ends. But it wasn't like, that's a phrase, but it wasn't even at both ends. It was really at one end, and the candle was just getting totally burnt out. And that had a real impact. And I only really realised this like looking back, because when you're in that mode, you don't realise everything's going on around you, and you're literally being devoured by your business. And I was working too hard. It was really affecting my health and well-being, which is something you alluded to, because when we look back now, it's quite funny, but looking at some of the pictures, I was like significantly overweight without realising. That was just a consequence of just not taking care of myself, and just like taking care of the business first and forgetting about me. We went on a journey through Property Entrepreneur to get fit, and I think it come from Shiv Harrier when he joined the board. And I remember him saying at the beginning of the year that he was going to he was going to do all these things, and one of the things he was going to do was going to get a six-pack. And I remember thinking, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. That's not achievable, right? We all want one of them. I was sitting there eating my flapjacks, and he went on and did that over a year, and that was really impressive. And then I thought, well, if Shiv can do that, then I can do that. But I need to put myself first before the business, because I can't just work and expect good things to come. So it was really kind of separating the business a bit from myself. And then after Shiv did that, myself and you and Adam and Josh and a couple of other people went on this same journey. And when you're amongst friends who so one person showing us how to do it, Shiv said that this can be done. So we all everyone sort of ears perked up a bit and thought, oh, that actually wouldn't mind a bit of that ourselves. So we all joined the journey together, and it's very inspiring to be kind of walking along the path with others who are on the journey too. So we were all sharing it, going, we found this this app that tells you how many calories in certain food, sharing on the WhatsApp group the sort of stuff we're eating, how much weight we're losing and stuff like that. But that's really inspiring. And I remember being on the beginning of that journey, and RNT saying, my coach saying, I'm at 90 kilos. I was saying, how far do you think I can get? And I was thinking, we're going to go to 80 or something. And he said, like 68 kilos. I thought, you're mad.
Yeah.
That's not achievable, right? But we're on this journey together. And I think it's really relevant to business. It's not just about Kevin's health. It is relevant to Kevin's health, but it's relevant to business too. Because we're on a journey together. One person showing us it can be done, and the others are walking the path together, and we're all showing each other it can be done on the way there. And I got down to 65 kilos, which so I lost 25 kilos in 6 months or just under.
That's bonkers.
It was mental. I mean, there's no way, if you'd have told me before, this is what you're going to do, I would just think you're mad. It's just impossible.
On that, Kev, because there's going to be so many people, the majority of people listening to this, that are entrepreneurs, they are overworked and they are out of shape. And their first excuse is going to be, I don't have time. There was nobody in the world there's very few people that had less time than you. You were literally dealing with the clients, building the things and ordering the gravel. It's like, how did you make that step change to within 12 months go from literally your health being the bottom of your priority list to getting it somewhere towards the top, where you were walking 20,000 steps a day, you were eating better? Can you remember the first changes you made there?
I think it's deciding that it can be done, so that I can go from where I was to this new place and someone is showing me how to do it. Secondly, I think being on a journey with other people as well is really important, because it kind of helps you to keep motivated. And then I think just deciding what's really important for you, and you have to sort of step back from your business. And again, you can be so in it, you've got to get it separate a little bit and step back a little bit and go, right, is this really the most important thing in my life? And actually my health was the most important thing. I think it probably is for everyone when they take the time to step back and kind of write it down and say, right, what's of value to me?
Yeah. And for anyone who wants a bit of a sobering soundbite, all anyone wants in life is wealth, health, and happiness. And the reality is, most people focus on wealth for so long, by the time they actually get it, they have no health and then there's very little time left to enjoy the happiness. So there's no point going a million miles an hour for 2 decades. You might as well play the long game, look after yourself, and go a bit further. So that's definitely been one of the visible game-changing step changes I've seen you do, Kev. And it is hugely inspiring and also essential for anyone who wants to perform at this level. What other challenges? What would you say the second challenge you had?
I think it was just the level of noise that was going on, and to understand that that's what was happening. So with me trying to do everything, it just wasn't possible for me to be able to move forward. It was constantly phone going, constantly Kevin needs to do this, constantly whatever's required to take that through Kevin. And that was through my own making as well. So it was just too much noise all the time. So I couldn't see what was going on. And I think coming to work with yourself and sort of stepping away from the business gives you a little bit of space to see what's happening and to reduce the noise. But that was probably the best thing to calm down a little bit, was the level of noise. It's okay, I can't do everything, and there's no way I'm going to get out of this problem if I keep trying to do everything. So I need to kind of create a bit of space and give people a bit more autonomy and reduce the noise of everything coming to me.
And how did you do that? Because that sounds like absolute logical sense. Everybody needs to work less and delegate more and have more time so they can work on it rather than in it. What key things did you actually take in practice to do that? Because it's not easy. But
it's
now
not easy.
It's not easy. But when you crack it, you take it to another level, and you have cracked it now.
Yeah.
And like watching it over the last 2 years has been game changing. What did you change? What would you encourage other people to change?
I think the first thing you've got to just have like trust that getting away from the business is the most important thing. So for me, even if it's like going, like we talk about going to the cave and stuff like that, getting away from your business, saying these 2 hours away from driving around in the van is probably the most valuable thing I can possibly do. And then you can get a bit of headspace to go, right, okay, what is actually happening? Because I think when you're in amongst it all the time, you just don't have the space to see what's going on. So giving yourself the space, I think, is the most important thing. And then you've got the time to kind of write things down a little bit. You know, we talk about journaling, like writing stuff down in your journal. What task could I give to someone else that are going to give me a little bit of space to be able to breathe a little bit and see what's happening? I mean, one of the key things that we always encourage, like early on, is getting a PA. So I did that 6 years ago. I mean, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
I couldn't live without a PA now. But there's so much stuff going on, I can't even see what's going on. Once you've got someone to assist you, that was a huge gift.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody who doesn't already have a PA, get yourself signed up today with a pay-as-you-go, 10, 15, £20 an hour PA in this country, if they're in this country. VA, you can get one even cheaper, and just start giving them jobs as they come along. And I guarantee you, it will change your life and you'll never look back. The other thing, Kev, is there's the logical element of it. But there's also the mental and psychological element of stepping back from the business. Did you ever feel like any emotional or moral obligation to the team that you needed to be there and like be in the trenches and sort of it was part of your like work ethic? Did you feel like you had to be there?
Totally, and being in the trenches is a thing, because they say, well, one of my friends said to me, Kev, you need the opportunity to sit in the general's tent, and I'm always out on the battlefield fighting with the guys, and that's not really serving them, serving the business, or serving me. And what I need to do is get away from it and sit in the general's tent and go, right, okay, what's happening on the battlefield, and how can we make things run a little bit better? And definitely is a moral obligation. That's kind of one of the hardest things, I think, when I've been working out with them all the time and we've been working really hard together, standing out in the pouring rain, shoveling concrete, and suddenly I'm like this guy who's going to remove myself. But it's having the faith and the trust that this is the only way the business is going to move forward for me and for them. I mean, it's no good for everyone I was working with to stay in that small circle either. You have to keep kind of growing and progressing, and it's having the faith that that's the best thing to do. And it's not easy. I mean, it takes conversations. It takes some time, but it definitely was the only way to proceed.
Yeah, completely agree. So looking to delegate work, get some time out of the business. So whether we have cave time where we go into the cave, get journal, get creative, look at problems, or prime time where you book an hour out every morning before the world comes to eat you alive, and just work an hour a day on those high value tasks that every day, even if it just moves it an inch forward, the compound effect over a week, a month, a year, 6 years in Kevin's case, is absolutely game and life changing. Any other problems, Kev? Another couple of problems?
Yeah, I think I would say, and I think a lot of these are all very similar for me, because a lot of it has been about removing, like separating myself from the business. Like in the beginning, the business is Kevin, right? And that's the problem. And everything then goes through Kevin. And so like a big learning, and this has taken me a while to get this, and I think it's still something that's developing, is like there was like a lack of structure. So understanding for me, we talk about, or you talk about like the landlord, investor and entrepreneur level. And for me, it's builder, developer, entrepreneur level. Like I know in the property, you talk about like the landlord's the one going around changing the toilet rolls and, you know, cleaning the bathrooms and making the beds ready for the new person to come in. And for me, the corollary of that is the builder. The builder's a guy. I was a builder, like the landlord, driving around, doing the deliveries, etc., etc. And to understand that I need to step up to the next level is absolutely critical. And it is a mindset shift. And so it really, like, you can't solve the problem at the level it's created at. So my only way of doing it was, as a builder, was what I tried for probably 15, 20 years, was just to drive faster, work harder, shovel sand quicker, get everyone working really harder and trying to achieve success like that. And you can achieve some success like that, but it's definitely, there's a ceiling there, and it's exhausting. But to understand, and going back to the analogy of, you know, getting in the general's tent, I need to get up to the next level. And I think that's absolutely a critical understanding for me personally, even in my day-to-day work. Like when I'm on site, I'm working at builder level, right? When I go to site, if I go and visit my sites. When I'm away from site, I need to understand I'm working at developer level. I wouldn't say I'm up at the entrepreneur level just yet, but there's a different mindset needed to get up to there. But I think it's like changing that mindset, and it takes some learning to do that. I think it takes it takes a lot of conversations of being around the right people.
I can definitely resonate with that, and it's not until you see the next level that you understand that you can get there and you can operate there, and all of a sudden, the things that you used, the small things that you used to sweat, you just realize that actually somebody else can worry about those problems, because up here there's much bigger problems that you can deal with, and they become a lot less significant. Over the last couple of years, you've invested quite heavily in the expertise that you've surrounded yourself with, the people you've introduced to the development company. What key moments have you had? Because people won't believe this until they get there. And obviously, if we can get them there in 5 months rather than 5 years, to understand that you can step up. And like I do my developments, and I'll go to the development once or twice a year, and I'll have a team that run it. Whereas you obviously are still, you're at the developer level, and you're there a lot more involved in it. And there's people doing that in my business. People won't have that confidence that they can step to the next level. They'll normally just do it organically, which can take decades. When you've had a couple of moments of realization recently where you have step change and you found yourself at the next level, can you offer any like insight to how to encourage people to do that, or what it felt like, or a realization when you're like, wow, do you know what? I've just realized I don't need to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah, I mean, some of it I think is mindset, right? So a lot of it's mindset, and some of that you can, so in my experience, you can externalize. So for me, like wearing different clothes, right? That tells me I'm in a different place. I no longer ever go, I had a uniform I would wear for building, right? Black trousers, white shirt, because I was a boss, but I was still building. Never wear that ever again. And I had my orange tops, me and Anna thrown them all out, right? That's my partner, Anna. So that mindset shift is really important, and is symbolized by presenting myself in a different way. Got rid of all my vans. I can't drive a van anymore. They're gone, right? So that's a mindset shift. And then when I've shifted that mindset, then I think you deal with people differently, and people perceive you differently when you're coming from a different place. If that makes sense. So
100%.
I don't get involved in site stuff anymore, and that's just known. That's not what I do. So I think people relate to me differently, and then they want to take on the responsibility. Some people do, some people don't, and then people will be shifted off. But the people that do want to take on responsibility, they want to step forward. They want me to be in my role so they can take up their role, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking to be led in the right way.
And they absolutely are. It's everyone wants to move forward, and in order for the business to move forward, it needs to be led. In order for it needs to be led, you need to have the time and the headspace to actually lead it and drive it forward. Probably one thing to pull out of that, which is really valuable, it's definitely something that I consistently work on, is challenging your perceptions and just thinking, what things can I change and force myself to change, and then see if they are actually a problem. So, for example, there's periods in my life where I felt like I have to be in head office 5 days a week. And then I go down to 4 days and 3 days and 2 days, and the world doesn't end. And all of a sudden I'm doing half a day a week, and the business is probably performing better, which is great. Or feeling like I've sat out on the shop floor in head office for 3 years. And actually, what would it be like if I didn't sit in the shop floor? And actually, you move yourself into the office, all of a sudden everyone can be more natural and relaxed and do their work. I'm in the peace and quiet, so I can actually do my work, and it works for everyone. But you have to force yourself for 4 to 6 weeks to do it, to realise it's not actually the problem that you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, we've got our, like, as an example, we've got the building inspector coming to our site today. And I was going to go and see him first thing this morning because it's his first visit to site. And then he was running late, so I couldn't go because we had this meeting. So I've just left it to the guys on site, and it's completely fine. And I don't need to be there. They're really happy that they're in charge. And actually, they're taking on more responsibility the more I give them, and it works really well. So, I think people want to take on responsibility, but you have to give it to them in a structured way. You can't just sort of abdicate your own responsibility. You're still in charge. But
that's it. It's not. It isn't. If you want this thing to work, everyone has to be set up for success. It isn't just a case of abdicating and abandoning people. It is a case of strategically doing it, but also having the confidence to move forward. And that is a tough one. I've always struggled with that, but I can absolutely vouch for the fact that it's, you're absolutely bang on the money, 100% true. Maybe one final challenge that you've experienced on the way from being eaten alive by the business 6 or 7 years ago to building, doing multi-million-pound developments, winning your awards, and being in good shape in your dream house.
All of them things are true. I think like lack of systems was a real problem. And funny enough, that's where like you and I first met, was like about 7 years ago on your systems day, because I knew I needed systems in the business, and I come along to systems day, and then you had more stuff going on, so I joined that. But lack of systems, and that's a way to be able to give people the opportunity to take on the responsibility. But so you can't just say go and do that. You give people a process or a system. This is how I want it done, and then let them go and fulfill that role. But putting the systems in place is like really, really important. And so lack of systems was a real problem for me. And I think also, as we've spoken about before, keeping it simple. I try to overcomplicate it. Like, I'm going to build a massive, great management software, and I'm going to, pay someone a fortune to come in and build this for me. And we spent about 6 months writing the whole procedure for this, and that was a bit of a waste of time, really. So keep it simple, but lack of systems was a real challenge.
And people listening to this, most of them will be creators or blazers, and the idea of getting stuck into systems is just the last thing on their list. Systems, that thing everyone talks about, but very few people actually do. How did you overcome that?
Oh, it's not easy. I mean, it's an ongoing thing, right? So we're still building them all the time. I'm not sure that you get to a place where you just have a fully 100% systemized business. It's an ongoing thing, but it's just like making a start. So, we made a start with certain systems. We just keep building on them. I've built them into Asana. I've got a structure for delivering my projects now, which is always being updated. Then you can just take that as a template, move it on to the next project, keep updating it. You can add more systems inside it. So it's definitely not a fun thing to do, but when you realize the value of it, then it's really worthwhile.
Not only the site's now probably 5 or 10 times bigger than the extensions you were doing at the beginning, are they noisier or are they smoother now you've done all those things?
100% smoother, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, my phone hardly goes, Yeah,
something's wrong. So, if my phone rings, it's a sales call, or something's seriously wrong.
It's a bit disconcerting in the beginning because you wonder what's going on.
Yeah, it's driven by the dashboards rather than the pedals, right? It's like building a proper business that actually runs. And one of the things Kev said there that's really valuable to pull out for those of you that are listening is, you'll be sitting there, everyone thinks systems, and they think, I need to go and sit down and write a 1,200 page operations manual. what Kev said there was just start at the beginning, keep it simple. And it literally is that. Get yourself a Google Sheet, editable Word document, and just as you create one thing and you set somebody up on it, add it to the Word document, and then add another one, then add another one. And before you know it, over 3, 6, 12 months, you end up with an operations manual. And then you have processes and you have teams that are using those. And yeah, just bring it in gradually, because most creator and blaze entrepreneurs, even if they've got an appreciation for systems, they don't normally have an appetite for it.
And the good thing is when you've got stuff that you've created like a couple of years ago, then you start re-leveraging it and building on it, and then you start seeing the values. That's quite exciting.
Without a doubt, I went our photographer this weekend at Property Entrepreneur wasn't able to attend. One of the team said, "Oh, the photographer's not coming. Found somebody else. Would you be able to come down and train them?" I said, like, without no disrespect, that's not a great use of my time. Here's a PDF that was written in 2018 that has exactly what they need to do, exactly what photos to use. It was written, what's that, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, what's that, 3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Written 3 years ago, never seen it since. The second it's needed, it saved me an hour of my time. It means the job's done. And for those of you that saw the photos on Facebook last week, I think they came out fantastic. So
perfect.
Nicely done, Kev. Genuinely, this journey it is inspiring to watch. And I'm not just saying it because we're interviewing you for the Hall of Fame or blowing smoke or anything else. You genuinely are one of my heroes in many capacities, specifically the balance you found now in your life. Like 6, 7 years ago, you were getting eaten alive by the business. You were not in good shape. You weren't looking after yourself. And now you're one of the most balanced individuals I know. You put yourself first. You've got a great relationship with your partner. You've got the house, your dream house that you've built. You've got the business that you set out to achieve. And whilst there's always going to be challenges with all of this, it's been hugely inspiring to watch and hugely admirable to look at what you're achieving.
Thank you.
To enable anybody else who's inspired by this to sort of take some top tips to move forward, is there a couple of top tips you could offer them to go forward with?
I think just keep it simple, really. Keep it super simple, as we were saying a minute ago. And it doesn't mean like dumbing down. It's like, I think that, I don't know who it was who said it, but if I had more time, I'd have written you a shorter letter.
Winston Churchill, yes. Sorry for the long letter. I didn't have time to write a short one.
That's it, yeah. And so it doesn't mean like dumbing down and just like but it's really distilling down to what's important and cutting out some of the fluff. So keeping things really simple, I think, is a good tip, because but as creators, particularly, we can make things much more complicated than they need to be. I think we can all suffer from that. Absolutely.
And Steve Jobs said the hardest thing is to make something simple, and that's what it is. It's if you can get a process down to a 4-letter acronym with 4 sentences rather than 10 pages of videos and essays, that's exactly what you want to do. And it's the hardest thing to do, but then, that's where the edge is. But
yeah, no pun intended.
There actually wasn't.
And I think I want to be like to understand that like real wealth comes from assets, and so we can definitely see that in property. Like we buy property, it keeps feeding us for we get our passive income for many years. But I think also with your business, it's really important to understand. So like understanding the systems and the processes that are required, and the structure in my case is required to run a business. Once you really get that, that's your asset. And so I was thinking earlier, like if I had to stop doing, if everything went to pot completely today, I now have all of that as an asset inside myself that I could just, start again tomorrow.
Without doubt. Yeah, that's very, very valuable. There's a couple of things there. One is Roger Hamilton says, wealth is what's left when all the money's gone. And that is your assets, your processes, your knowledge, your understanding. It's all that IP that we create. And also people think that the reason their business is successful is because of them. And actually, whilst people might think that that's a good thing, that's actually the worst thing. The best thing would be that the business is successful because of the things that you've created that are in the business, which is actually the asset. So Property Entrepreneur, I don't even deliver the first year. That's Adam and Josh, because they've got the bank of assets where I've spent years boiling it down into a little blueprint, and then somebody else can deliver it. And Kev's done the same with his development practices and processes, that he can create those things, delegate it to somebody else. And not only will they do it remotely from you, they'll probably do it better because it's blueprinted and you actually get all the detail and they know what they're doing. Whereas when you or I are doing it, a teaching, we're standing there trying to tell them, you know, we talk a million miles an hour. We're not really interested in telling them. We think we'll probably do it quicker ourselves.
Yeah.
We probably don't do them justice. So yeah, that's a great top tip. Any other top tips?
But I think also, just to finish on that, the wealth is not just money. We're not just talking about money; it's your life as well. You know? That's the real wealth. You know, the systems, the processes, the structures give you a better life.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and that's definitely a wisdom thing that can't. Yeah, and then the ironic thing is, the more time you have, the more money you seem to make. In those early days, you think, do you know what? I can't pay anyone else. I can't delegate anything else. I want to work and make loads of money. The more you actually start to buy back your time and pay other people to do stuff, you know, not only does your life become a lot more fulfilling, the financial element of it actually gets higher as well. It's very, it's pretty mad when you think about it.
Yeah.
Any other top tips?
I think the only other one I would say is surround yourself with winners. I mean, I think that's really important. I mean, and like going back to the health thing, you know, like, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for Shiv getting the six pack, I don't think anyone else on the board would have done it.
No.
And once he'd set the bar, everyone else was on the journey together, and we were a bunch of winners and competitive, and there was no way we were going to fall down. So I think you know, that's very noticeable in the health thing, but the same in business. You know, surround yourself with winners. We all push each other all the time. Everyone's always got someone else is achieving where you think can't be achieved. You might be achieving where someone else can't see it, and you kind of, you know, you're honing and supporting each other. It's like the rising tide raises all ships, and that's definitely true.
100%. And we follow ourselves off that maybe it's not important, or I am too busy, or do you know what? It seems like a nice idea, but when somebody else, when you all say you're going to get a PA, and everybody else starts getting PAs, and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing," you have that confidence to go and do it, and you're like, and also you feel a little bit obliged of like, right, well, if they're doing it, I'm gonna do it. Body transformation, and the power of proximity. You are the average of the 5 people you surround yourselves with.
Totally.
If 7 or 8 years ago, we were all in a space where we were killing ourselves as entrepreneurs. We were overeating, we were over drinking, we were like burning ourselves out. Now it's all about, you know, sharing meditation apps and like who goes to bed earliest and like, it's a very different world. But sharing the journey is absolute game changer. Kev, you're talking of game changers, like you are an absolute game changer. The journey you've been on has been life changing. Any final sentiments to share with people before we formally appoint you into the Property Entrepreneur Hall of Fame?
No, I would just say thanks to you, Dan, for, you know, what you've put together. Really, I really appreciate that. It's been a great journey. It's an honour to be offered the opportunity to, you know, to be honoured to go on the Hall of Fame for the work that I've done, and I really appreciate that. So thank you very much. Honestly,
like you're welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure to share the journey. 6 or 7 years has flown by. If you look at all the things that we've shared and the progresses that we've made. And for anybody watching this who's in those early stages of business, being eaten alive, I would highly recommend reaching out to Kev on Facebook, Instagram. Just touch base with him, watch what he's doing, because not in the not too distant past, Kev was exactly where you are, and he's focused on having a strategy, putting systems in place, changing things that needed to be changed, which even included winding one of his businesses up, and then focusing on the things that are important. And when you do that, you do get to progress in business. You do get to win some awards. You do get to have the time and the rewards of building a business to go and build your dream house. And Kev, if I can get anywhere near living half the balanced life that you live now, honestly, I'll be a very, very, very happy guy. So you continue to be one of my heroes. I'm an absolute big fan of yours. Welcome to the Property Entrepreneur Hall of Fame, and ongoing pleasure to share the journey, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Take care, Kev. All the best.
Cheers.
Congratulations. See you later.
Cheers. Bye-bye.